Hey guys, tonight we're going on a journey through time as we uncover the most ridiculous things royals were buried with. Imagine you, me, and the stars peeking through your curtains as we nestle into this sleepy corner of history. You probably won't survive this because history can be a trickster with its ups, downs, and downright silly moments. Kind of like scrolling through reels on 2% battery when you've already set 3 alarms for the morning. Before you get too comfy, feel free to tap like or subscribe, but only if you're genuinely enjoying the calm around here. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is over there. I love seeing how far this sleepy little journey reaches. Now go ahead and lower the lights. Maybe let a fan hum in the background, and let's drift gently into tonight's story together. You wake up in the world of ancient Egypt, where the sun bakes the golden sand, and time seems suspended beneath stone pyramids. It's a place where pharaohs believed they were descendants of gods, which is probably how they justified wanting to be buried with half of Fort Knox. Take Pharaoh Tutankhamun, for example. Little Tut, with his boyish smile beneath that iconic burial mask. You walk into his tomb, carefully brushing away years of dust, kind of like swiping through emails you promised to read but never actually do. Tutankhamun was uncovered with treasures galore, chariots, so many pieces of gold jewelry you'd think he was auditioning for a bling competition, and trumpets. Yes, trumpets. Because, honestly, what's eternal rest without a little background music played on instruments that have a flair for the dramatic? You picture the pharaoh descending into the underworld, surrounded by the echoes of royal fanfare, like a rock star with backstage passes to the afterlife. But here's the quirky side note. One of the 2 trumpets found in Tutankhamun's tomb was actually played in a live broadcast in 1939. People say the tune unleashed by the ancient device carried a curse. I mean, sure, a lot of ancient objects come with that rumor, but playing a 3,000-year-old trumpet expecting nothing to go wrong sounds a bit like using one ancient scroll to browse Twitter. Risky business. Historians still argue whether all pharaohs believed those companions were their actual earthly objects, or if they were just symbolic of some unknowable Egyptian wisdom. Maybe it was both. After all, if my bed was an everlasting BMW, well, who wouldn't want to take it into eternity? You find yourself chuckling at the idea as the scene shifts and your mind wanders to a modern comparison. It's like those times when you keep 27 tabs open while browsing, convinced each one shields some crucial piece of information you'll return to eventually. Maybe those pharaohs just knew a secret we didn't, or it could be that, at their heart, they were all about a touch of extravagant hoarding, where a single comb blossomed into an empire of objects, all gleaming with forgotten wishes. Now, as we leave Egypt's warm embrace, think of gentle beads of sweat that settle on your sleepy forehead, like treasures against the soft glow of moonlit sands. Time to turn this page of history, led not by dusty pages, but by the quiet hum of curiosity, carrying us gently to the next tale. Next, you find yourself whisked away to the heart of ancient China, where the earth under your feet holds more secrets than the most invested of TikTok conspiracies. You step into the world of the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, who ruled with an iron fist and a seemingly endless curiosity about immortality. Rumor has it, he was buried with an entire army. An army not of flesh and blood, but of clay. Yes, An army of terracotta soldiers stands forever at attention, waiting for orders in a land where time is paused, and reality feels like a dreamscape painted in shades of earthy hues. Walking through the Emperor's burial site, you get the feeling it's like binge-watching a series of an epic dirigible showdown, except everyone's stuck in the pause button limbo, frozen in cinematic wonder. Each figure is unique, as if an artist had individually handcrafted a legion of ceramic companions, crafted for an unending watch over their sovereign. The quirky side note comes in with the roosters that were allegedly interred alongside these soldiers. Perhaps the Emperor anticipated needing a good wake-up call in the afterlife. Or maybe he just enjoyed chicken nuggets too much. Historically speaking, it does raise eyebrows and ask scholars whether Qin Shi Huang believed those animals held some ethereal meaning, or whether they were simply a dietary afterthought to remind him of home-cooked meals. Historians still argue whether these clay guardians served as a true representation of Qin Shi Huang's splendor, or if they hold secret layers offering meanings as esoteric as a modern art installation disguised as a playroom. Picture this: an entire army, stiff and evergreen, whispering stories with silent lips, while the scholarly world tries to make sense of their stoic stance. Is there an unspoken language in their stony expressions? Or are we just reading too much into our own idle imaginations, yearning for connection even with ghostly ranks? You chuckle as you wonder if that's the ancient equivalent of taking your online followers with you into eternity, preserved forever in their stance of silent loyalty. History, with its winding intrigues, often mirrors how we carry digital footprints, holding on to snippets of our online world, even as we promise to spend less time engrossed in screen-fed realities. As the lights fade on this serene but slightly absurd tableau, you can feel the breath of distant past echoing in the quirk of an emperor's imagined war cry, commanding stone sentinels to march forward into a future defined by dust and legend. The night seems to hold its breath, wrapped in the quiet wonder of these ancient designs, while your mind tiptoes softly around the echoes left behind. Now, imagine gently lifting the veil of time to land among the chanting runes of the Vikings, where icy winds bluster through fjords and sagas are whispered from lips turning blue against the chill. You're among the Viking warriors, their tales as long and winding as a saga's sea journey. Strolling through their burial sites feels uncannily like peeking into someone's Netflix watch history, filled with action, drama, and, believe it or not, adorable pets. Picture this: Viking chiefs who sent off to Valhalla insisted on bringing their beloved earthly companions with them. Dogs, and even small horses, carefully laid beside them, ready for the final voyage. Just imagine one of these fierce Nordic warriors gently patting his furry companion, thinking, "You're coming with me to the Great Hall," like a dog owner who wouldn't dream of leaving behind their sleepy dachshund or playful corgi. Here's a slightly bizarre twist to the Viking saga creased with icy chuckles. Not only were there loyal pets, but occasionally they brought along their ships too. Yes, indeed, whole ships were sometimes buried with them. Can you picture their mighty longboats neatly tucked into a hillside, a final docking place where water softly whispers against wooden boards, a haunting lullaby for the rest of time? It's open to debate if these vessels were more symbolic than physically functional in their proposed otherworldly transit. But historians still argue whether these chiefs believed their pets could communicate with the Norse gods, like actual messengers on paws, running fast as the northern lights glimmered. There's something enticingly poetic in that closeness, as if the essence of companionship defies understanding, grounding us in a universal truth, that even warriors need softness amid their storm. Look around. There's a metaphorical warmth tethered to your own fuzzy socks, or that sleepy, oblivious dog snoozing on your couch, lending a soft and forgiving heartbeat to a story that otherwise boomed with battle cries. As you rest here in this vignette of oxmen, skyborn ravens, and warriors layered under blankets of frost, time dilates in the quiet shivers of Nordic gusts. The night continues to unfold, softly tilting the earth toward our next chapter, while the semblance of a yawning aurora sweeps across the sky, harmonizing with the steady, steadfast pulse of legend wrapped in our modern mundanity. You find yourself next in the ancient land of Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers cradle the tales of old Sumer. It's a place where history feels as dense and rich as the folds in a velvety blanket you burrow into on a chilly evening. Your mind draws to the figure of Queen Puabi. Now, we're talking about a royal who knew how to make an entrance, or rather, an extravagant exit. Queen Puabi was both a queen and a mystery wrapped in the finest fabrics and dripping with jewels that'd make a modern influencer's haul appear minimal. Her tomb was a veritable treasure trove, the kind of wardrobe haul that'd have your eyes glazing over like a binge on unboxing videos. Imagine a procession of attendants being entombed with her, bejeweled headdresses, and so many layers of beaded garments it'd make even the glitziest red carpet event seem subtly understated. One quirky element in her burial attire was the abundance of wigs she opted to take with her. You wonder if she was preparing for infinite costume changes, or if it was a symbolic nod to her ever-changing identity and power. It's kind of like thinking a phone full of apps can somehow organize both your mind and life, despite the chaos filling your notifications. A charming delusion that's stuck around. Historians still argue over whether the amount of finery was a display of wealth, or if each item held deep ceremonial value significant to her status and life. Maybe every gem spoke in silence, telling tales that only the gods could understand. A celestial group chat, dictated without words, speaking to her honor among the ancients. Pausing, you picture Queen Puabi's grand arsenal of wigs floating in the afterlife like nebulae of spun gold and silver. And you chuckle at the thought of a royal stylist ready for touch-ups. What statement screamed louder than precious metals fashioned into attire fit for another world, another life, embraced in timeless gleam and grandeur? As the earthen hum of this story reverberates, you pull the stories like a soft blanket over your imagination, each thread whispering tales of transience and opulent simplicity. Here, in the starlit echoes of Mesopotamian nights, the whispers of ages meld with the silent, sleeping earth, inviting you to listen closely before drifting onward. We now step into the landscape of ancient Rome, where the echoes of gladiators and bustling markets saturate the air with history's rustling pages. Amongst the splendor and scandal, the story of Emperor Nero peeps out like a mischievous grin amid faded photographs in an old family album. Nero, known for his eccentric tastes and unpredictable whims, decided he needed a bit of entertainment even in the afterlife, because peace and quiet can be overrated when you've spent life adoring center stage. You tiptoe around the remnants of his burial site, imagining lavish theaters fading into spectral light. Nero had been a patron of the arts, favoring music, poetry, and theatrical displays that were more cringeworthy than critically acclaimed. Kind of like those audition videos you'd rather stay hidden on a forgotten YouTube channel. Along with the expected luxury goods, he was rumored to have taken a few of his favorite theatrical masks, a lyre, and even some scripts into his grave, as if he planned on directing the latest epic in the great amphitheater of the afterlife. Here's the quirky side note you might not see coming. Nero reportedly played the lyre during the Great Fire of Rome. Was it true, or merely a fiery piece of propaganda? Historians debate if he was really playing while the city burned, or if it was all smoke and mirrors. It's like arguing whether a celebrity actually texts back or just sends automated replies. There's this ongoing argument among historians whether Nero's burial regalia was more about comforting his restless spirit, or if it was a grand final gesture to assert his dramatic flair in perpetuity. So, did his penchant for theatrics follow him into eternity, along with a personal soundtrack set for maximum dramatic effect? It's as if Nero's theater never stopped playing. A looping reel of solar eclipses and symphonies conducted beneath the celestial eaves. Stepping away from the shadows of Nero's grand stage, you sense a hush above Rome's sunlit ruins, a kind of imaginary orchestra humming softly in the background of time. The night air, cool and silken, drapes lightly around you as you tread across ancient stones, leaving behind an emperor's whims encapsulated in mortal clay. As you move on, consider the tales left unspoken, still resounding within the deep aisles of history's vast theater, waiting for the next listener to find their seat. Next, you wander into the heart of England, where misty fields and sturdy castles echo with tales as old as time itself. Here, buried beneath the whispers of history and rumors, lies Richard III, a king whose story unravels like a novel lost in revision. Richard's reign was as tumultuous as setting 5 alarms and ignoring them all. Brave, rebellious, and a touch unpredictable. The discovery of his remains sparked a flurry of excitement. Imagine archaeologists in 2012 spotting the infamous king under a Leicester car park, an unexpected twist before the credits roll on a late-night documentary. Unearthing his burial revealed artifacts that spur profound speculations. While not extravagant by legendary pharaoh standards, a few items alluded to his stature, and his detractors would suggest schemes to undermine his posthumous reputation. Yet, here's the quirky gem in the treasure trove of rumors. Richard was said to still clutch remnants of broken arrows, believed to be from the Battle of Bosworth. It feels like he clung to his last grand act, a dramatic narrative stashed beneath modernity's asphalt, as if his life's final scene needed tangible mementos. Historians forever debate whether Richard was a villain cloaked in Machiavellian whispers or a misunderstood hero scapegoated by history. It's like dissecting a character from your favorite show, with layers that turn every which way. Each artifact and broken arrow points toward the intrigue lurking in this story's folds, leaving us wondering if we'll ever find the missing page explaining the riddle of his life. Pausing, your senses soak into the ambiance of whispers rising from dim-lit castle rooms as faded tapestries sigh in forgotten corners. The roads of time stretch before us, fueled by rumors and revisions, leaving Richard tethered to our view like the notifications we dare not open, just in case they mean more than we ever expected. Gently walking away from the shadows of England's misty past, you sense the cool night's air cascading through ancient oak branches, like a symphony composed long ago. The stars stretch across the sky. Grains in a dark tapestry, guiding us toward the next story. Fingers trailing along lines written in the cosmos. As we drift, yet the labyrinth of Richard's legacy unfurls. And in its waves, we find the thrill of history's whispers lingering softly in the night. As the night deepens, we find ourselves wandering into the grand halls of Russia, enveloped by layers of fur cloaks and crystalline snowflakes that seem to hang suspended in icy whispers. Here, amidst this frosty grandeur, dwells the tale of Catherine the Great, a monarch so formidable. Her legacy blazes through history like a comet, dazzling and daring. Catherine's burial was as elaborate as her reign, which was marked by Enlightenment ideas and just a sprinkle of scandal, the kind of mix that keeps you guessing when you should be sleeping. Her tomb, decked out with opulent treasures and fantastic rumors, made it seem like she had her own Pinterest board for afterlife decor. But let's take a moment to indulge in one of the quirkier nuggets, the story about her supposed lover, an erstwhile stallion. The tale, of course, was a concoction of political gossip meant to tarnish her image, yet it's endured with a bizarre tenacity, like a mythic tale unearthed from murky riverbeds of gossip. You can't help but picture Catherine rolling her eyes from wherever she rests, silently critiquing history's spoiler-prone reputation. Historians still argue whether these rumors about her were purely animosity-fueled fabrications, or if they held the teeniest kernel of truth. The debate has more spin than a Russian dance troupe, examining impressions versus authenticity. There's a theatrical air to her saga, echoes of choices made in candlelit chambers, where diplomats and lovers shared secret smiles. Wandering through the museum-like past of Catherine's court, you might chuckle at the intricacies of court life. Think of her grand parties poised between diplomacy and drama. Much like planning a group chat, you're simultaneously excited and nervous to initiate. It's a never-ending balancing act, and the grandiose life she led matches the intricate facade she and her advisors curated. As you pull the past around you like a rich velvet cloak, the soft rustling in the background fades to near silence. The final glimpses of this intricate chapter in Russia's tapestry leave behind softly reverberating tones, swirling away as the night stretches on. Its mysteries echo away into the quiet corridors of Catherine's legacy, a whispered encore to the grand performance of history. The path curls onward, subtly transforming like shadows across a regal ballroom, guiding our footsteps to the next waiting tale. Now, we journey across the vast, windswept plains of Mongolia, where the whispers of the steppes carry the legends of Genghis Khan, a figure as enigmatic as he was mighty. Even in sleep, he roams these lands coated in hushed tones and the rustling tales of history's endless tapestry. Genghis Khan's resting place itself is cloaked in mystery, shrouded by secrecy and myths that ripple through time like a Spotify playlist stuck on repeat, each song whispering tales of his conquest and charisma. It's said that upon his death, his empire stretched so vast it nearly spanned the known world. His burial, however, defied expectations of grandeur, opting instead for anonymity. Yet the lore that accompanies his grave speaks of wild imaginings, an entourage of rare creatures filling the landscape like a menagerie fit for the King of Kings. Legend purports that a mountain lion, among other animals, went with him to the next realm, standing sentinel by his side. Here's where our quirky tidbit weaves in. Tales suggest his burial team planted trees over the site to conceal it, later diverting a river to flow over his grave. It's like trying to hide the cookie jar after a midnight snack. Layers of earth and water pretending to forget. Maybe it echoes the modern allure of hidden treasures. Sealed boxes and old maps tucked away behind digital screens, teasing the adventurous in all of us. Historians still argue whether this unmarked burial was part of his grand design or merely a practical approach, left intentionally vague and shrouded in shadow. Was it modesty or one final strategic move from a man known for rewriting lands and laws? Each voice in the scholarly debate is like a step onto a wrong foot, a dance that refuses to yield certainty. You muse on the idea of this fearsome leader wandering the afterlife, a solitary traveler veiled in myths still unraveling after centuries. Imagine the quiet padding of the lion beside him under an endless Mongolian night sky. Stars flickering silently, a watchful canvas above. There's a feeling of wonderment wrapped through this legend, enveloping you like a warm breeze even as the night cools and the world waits, suspended in time's gentle embrace. The tale drifts onward, leaving you with thoughts of unseen places and stories whispered like echoes through the canyons of time. You inch forward, ever curious, ever searching, as the paths of history invite you softly to follow, to hear what the nights and stars have tucked underneath their breathless shroud, tales and shadows, waiting with open arms. Imagine now the grand corridors of ancient Egypt once again, lit by the hazy glow of lamplight that seems almost supernatural in its shimmer. Flickering shadows caress stone walls, painting the echoes of dynasties on surfaces worn smooth by whispered secrets. Here, in this land of ancient kings and queens, there's a unique tale of pharaohs who were buried with what could only be called glow-in-the-dark accessories. Picture it, a nighttime spectacle that dazzles as much as it intrigues, a hint of bioluminescent enchantment resting in the heart of the pyramids. Some pharaohs insisted on journeying to the afterlife with amulets and treasures that emitted a soft, mysterious glow, a curious precursor to the neon lights of Las Vegas, or perhaps more aptly, the nightlight watching over you as you sleep, keeping the dark just at bay. In this tale, history weaves mystery like the lights we string for holidays, casting comforting gentle hues amidst stark darkness. The quirky side note here whispers of rumors that fireflies, or some similar glowing creatures, might have inspired the luminescence. Imagine small jars that mimicked stars captured from a night sky. A touch of magic in a world otherwise dominated by logic and relentless sunlit splendor. Yet historians still argue whether these glowing trinkets were as practical as they were mystical. Did they believe the faint radiance would guide their souls like a pilot's soft glow among celestial seas? Or was this practical yet magical touch merely the whimsy of an empire so far-reaching it embraced the fantastical? You can sense scholars pondering, their modern-day faces lit by the glow of devices, connecting dots separated by millennia. It's like watching a rumored spectral echo play shadowy tricks. Perhaps there's a treasure in all things meant to captivate the heart and mind, leading one boldly forth into the tapestry of nighttime tales without conclusion. Some jewels, after all, offer more sparkle when dancing gently with light, reminding you of the magic that flares quietly in memories and imagination alike. As you step away from the murmur of firelight flickering across ancient stone, the echoes of Egypt's storied past reverberate softly. The night casts her velveteen cloak further across the skies, and you feel a gentle nudge into future stories, where shadows and light extend their eternal dance. With a softly whispered sigh, we're gently beckoned forward, a subtle invitation from the past to continue journey's dance. As the journey winds deeper into the past, the Italian Renaissance heightens the vividness in the air, a time where art and science collided in bursts of inspiration. Here we unravel the mystery of Leonardo da Vinci, a man who seemed capable of capturing lightning in a bottle and turning it into delicate strokes of genius. Imagine walking alongside Da Vinci through cobblestone streets that echo with the quiet whispers of creation. Every step, a soft reminder of a legacy deeply etched into history's chronicle. The final resting place of Leonardo carries enough rumor and marvel to make you feel as if you're peering through a portal into a brilliantly sketched idea. The wise man was buried with many personal artifacts, yet tales spin the intrigue tighter with whispers of hidden inventions. It's like imagining modern innovators tucking away prototypes in their final suits, hoping to leave behind notes of ingenuity wrapped in enigma. Here's a delightfully quirky morsel from his ornate riddle. There's talk of thousands of sketches filled with futuristic dreams, helicopters, war machines, and the human anatomy unraveled like a blueprint of hidden knowledge. Some suggest that, within his tomb, secrets intertwine that even today compel those with a penchant for solving puzzles. Could there be an unwritten masterpiece conjured from the ethers of time, resting in tranquil slumber, much like we do when setting aside the relentless momentum of day-to-day life? Historians continue to puzzle over his life's work, pondering whether some of his writings deliberately guarded a mystery, forever hinting at yet undiscovered truths. It's a bit like staring at a series of perplexing status updates with locked meanings, leaving followers divided over the real versus the imagined. You picture the echo of Leonardo's legacy as a gentle brushstroke across the night sky, each twinkling star an idea he may have dreamed into being. His artistry, a symphony without end, softly hums as you meander onward into history's warm embrace, where silence and sound blend seamlessly, enveloping restless minds with the promise of possible worlds, ever shimmering on the edges of consciousness. A silent allure of draped shadows beckons as the night's gentle nudge continues to guide forward, painting our path in timeless musings. Here, where your thoughts, like Leonardo's, wander brilliantly, merging visions of the past with whispers into the dreamscape that stretches infinitely before you. Our journey now floats gently into the ancient realm of Egypt once more, where the alluring persona of Cleopatra VII captures our attention like a brightly lit stage in a dimly lit room. She's that figure of historical allure, her presence woven into the golden threads of time, commanding the kind of fascination that mixes fortune, romance, and a sprinkling of enigma. If you draw close, you can almost hear Cleopatra orchestrating plans and affairs from behind the veils, her throne a testament to a life lived across both love stories and political gambits. If there's one thing Cleopatra is rumored to have taken to the afterlife, it's her expansive array of jewels. Envision jeweled anklets that shimmer under the sunlight, proving her regality while performing a fine magician's trick of diverting attention, like a predictive algorithm curating only the brightest moments. The quirky detail that weaves whimsy into Cleopatra's tale is the supposed aspa that shared her final hours, though the truth of her death slithers through speculation as mysteriously as the serpent itself. You can't help but chuckle at the idea of Cleopatra preferring vibrant jewels and elusive asps as comrades in her last standout role. like a plot twist inserted by destiny, meant to captivate an eager audience for centuries to come. Historians still argue whether Cleopatra's notions of grandeur reflected sincere connections, or if they were trappings of power carefully placed, much like an ace up the sleeve. How much was image, and how much the person? Her life, after all, paints kaleidoscopic tales of diplomacy, culture, and love. It's as though her story unfolds like an engaging novel, each chapter leaving you wanting to linger just a bit longer. Every gem, supposedly buried with her, served as a story of her reign, glittering under the moonlight of time eternal. Imagine how her jewels might flicker modestly beside the timeless path through endless nights, a beacon marking the transitions between realms from one mystical night to the next, hinting at a legacy that might never truly rest. As we pause here, indulge in the beauty of Cleopatra's action painting past, her regal gemstones reflecting stories whispered long into the night. You sense a comforting rhythm to these tales, each tale stepping in tandem with the beating heart of history as we sway into the next chapter, lying softly just ahead, a gentle lullaby of echoes passed lovingly from history to fantasy's quiet embrace. As the intertwining paths of history weave their course, we are drawn toward the rolling hills and rugged castles of Normandy in the Middle Ages, where William the Conqueror etched his mighty name across the tapestry of England's fate. He emerged like a storm, fierce and unyielding, his legacy a whirlwind of conquest painted in broad, bold strokes. You sense his presence in the grasslands of Hastings, where the wind carries faint cries of triumph and tumult, dancing like swirling leaves in an autumn breeze. As we gather around the layers of history surrounding William's burial, tales emerge like the soft rustle of pages turning under a dim reading lamp. Well, here's where the absurd and the poignant collide. William met his earthly end unexpectedly, and when it came time for his burial, logistics unraveled like the messiest of inboxes. A body, a tomb, a funeral, and, oh yes, a burial team grappling with the sudden realization that quite a bit more space was needed. The quirky scene unfolds like a comedy of errors worthy of Shakespeare himself. It's said, his rather grand personage required more room than anticipated, which led to disturbances that you might picture as the medieval equivalent of having to backspace through a life-size spreadsheet of plans gone comically wrong. Historians still argue whether the tales of his awkward final rest reflect reality or were dramatic installations to emphasize his already larger-than-life reputation. Did the king posthumously command an entrance, like the fractious lead of a saga, mindfully leaving breadcrumbs for interpreters to puzzle over? Was it all a final dramatic flourish, a fitting capstone to an eventful reign? Imagine now the tapestry of stories that echo through time, a multicolored fabric of conquests, deeds, and destinies woven together. Here lies the continuity of a king whose very life feels akin to watching a trending series where you anxiously await the next twist, gasping at each revelation so cleverly teased. You stand on the edge of history and legacy, feeling ancient footsteps whispering beneath the serene surface of present-day quietude. The night yawns, carrying sleepy tales of era-bound footfalls under an ever-watchful sky full of glittering possibilities, urging the tale to gentle close as you listen to a lull of forgotten sighs. Within this hushed space, William's echoes fade delicately, leaving you with a lingering sense of what was and what might still be amongst the stars. The night's endless expanse reaches out, and you, with quiet anticipation, drift towards the next timeless story waiting in the wings. a gentle promise of something yet untold. As we let the tides of medieval history gently set us adrift again, we sail north to the frosty landscapes of Scandinavia to unravel the tale of Harold Bluetooth, a king whose name rings with the faint modern echo of digital connections. You find yourself meandering through his icy courts, where Viking prowess and sage diplomacy fused like the light brushstrokes in a painter's wintry scene. Harold's burial is a tapestry of whispers, laced with historical tension and ornate symbolism, like a novel with a plot twist hiding quietly on every page. You picture a grand, rich tapestry filled with mysterious symbols buried with him, remnants of a reign grounded in unity, like the connections it would inspire ages later. Honestly, it's like trying to interpret a cryptic group chat filled with emojis and half-understood references. But here's where history throws in a little quirk. Harold Bluetooth's name now lives on within everyone's favorite modern-day wireless accessory. Just imagine if Bluetooth himself had known how his legacy would jump across the centuries, transforming from legendary ruler to universal tech convenience. It's a tale that chuckles softly to itself, filled with the serendipitous playfulness of history's long game. Historians still debate over the validity of some of the symbols found alongside his remains. Were they genuine depictions of faith or political maneuvering masqueraded through artful essence? The Viking king's legacy unfolds like a cryptic strategy game of alliances and technology, inviting questions much like the recognized blue light emblem that blinks reassuringly from our devices. You feel the icy air around encapsulate you, much like the chill that once followed Viking fleets across the open sea. There's an inherent adventure to the story nestled within Harold's enduring reach, a journey from royal halls to digital realms, from ancient whispers to the silent buzz of communication knitted into modern life. The night ages softly, spreading velveteen shadows across the landscape, leaving Harold's legacy weaving quietly through the fingers of history's hand. It's a testament to what remains, echoing gently through time and symbols shared by both Vikings and modern gadgets. And you smile at the simplicity and complexity held within the same frame. As you drift onward, a path woven with spectral threads of light and shadow unfurls before us, leading gracefully into tomorrow's hushed stories. All the while, beneath the cosmic dome, where the night murmurs patiently, the harmony of tales yet untold glides seamlessly into the quietened air. Our wandering gaze shifts now, carrying us to the rolling hills of France, laced with the whispers of a legacy carrying both light and shadow. Our footsteps echo into the heart of the Middle Ages, where Joan of Arc, the iconic Maid of Orleans, stands steadfast in the glow of her indomitable spirit. Her story unfurls in heroic strokes, a testament to courage blossoming in fields where sunflowers bend to the hum of nature's quiet chorus. Joan's life was a symphony composed in notes of defiance and sacrifice, and her end, burning bright with martyrdom, invites solemn whispers lingering through the corridors of history. Tales allege she carried into rest symbols of purity and faith, items that might seem quaint, yet call forth the resonant vibrancy of her conviction. It's like holding on to a cherished locket, the kind that contains within it a personal map of the heart's secret terrain. The quirky twist. Some say her heart remained unscathed amidst the flames, an enduring beacon amid the flickering shadows of uncertainty. Whether that tale is woven from truth or from the longing of those left behind continues to captivate imaginations, much like age-old folklore that both charms and unsettles you. Historians still argue whether Joan's remarkable journey from peasant to savior was fueled solely by divination, or if it traversed more palpable paths of strategic genius. Was her life a testament to otherworldly guidance, or was it the result of astute political timing wrapped in spiritual fervor? This debate, as lively as deliberations over modern phenomena, reveals as much about us as it does about her. Imagine Joan's essence as a flame brightly illuminating history, a spark that ignites inspiration throughout ages, unhindered by borders or beliefs. The night air is thick with the promise carried silently beneath celestial watch, as if her legacy stitches together the tapestry of stars with unyielding resolve. The tales of this luminous past hold you, bringing a sense of quiet reverence that permeates the soul. In the fading shadows, dancing unceasingly at the edges of consciousness, there's the gentle murmur of what lingers. It resonates as a continued promise, the hum of unseen legends awaiting daylight's soft stir to unfurl anew. With each quiet step, you walk gently toward tomorrow, where the stories will linger, comfortably unconscious, a dance of wisdom and wonder, whispering faithfully against the eternal weave of the world. And as you drift, soft and serene under the watchful pallid of night, history's echoes envelop you, carried forward by the boundless embrace of time's dreamy lull. As midnight settles deeper into its cocoon, let us venture one last time through the winding turns of history, listening for stories nestled gently between the breaths of the past. This time, we wander to the realm of the Aztecs, amid vibrant works of human craftsmanship gleaming under the sun, where Montezuma II, the empire's last emperor, ruled with all the splendor of an era on the cusp of fall. In this vibrant land, where mysteries spin like the colors of a sunrise, Montezuma's burial conjures images of golden artifacts, sacred jewels, and treasures echoing the wealth of a civilization teeming with life. His burial site, lost to the ages, like notes of a song lingering in the air, evokes whispers across time of a glowing kingdom, gravitating toward the serious yet often whimsical spirit of their age. The quirky detail of Montezuma's journey into eternity lies in the reverence for his headdress. Imagine rows upon rows of feathers forming a halo of color spiraling into the heavens. An ethereal fashion statement fit for both earthly pride and celestial court. Like an impossibly extravagant costume tucked away for a final performance, it bids farewell in hues resplendent even beyond memory's embrace. Amongst the scholarly ranks, debate simmers on whether Montezuma's treasures were meant as offerings or intended as reminders of an empire's might. Did they hold magic revered only by the Aztecs, whispering promises of favor in afterlives? Or were they final declarations woven into the tapestry of an unforgettable reign? It flutters in conversation, much like the age-old elan that surrounds relics of undetermined origin. You imagine Montezuma's headdress glowing quietly beneath an expansive blue sky, its quetzal feathers whispering softly in the afterlife's gentle breezes. Each glimpse flashes briefly, like a fleeting smile promising eternities, a nod from fate acknowledging existence's grand finale and beginning anew. As the night's silence stretches and the embers of these tales dim, let it wrap around you gently as timeless moonlight, caressing your being in hushed choruses of what has been and what shall accompany you in dreams. As the narrative softly ebbs, you inhale the symphony of ancient echoes, feeling their weight and wisdom lean into you, an embrace that consoles and reassures. Let the soft quiet of the night rock you gently to its rhythm, reminding every hesitant breath that amidst the lavish lull of shared tales, there lies someone eternally cradling you with a whispered serenade. Rest now, wrapped in tranquility's gentle weave, as the tales of old murmur you into a peaceful, dreaming embrace, held close by the fabric of history, cradled in the palm of night.